Thank God for his grace and for his mercy. He is the only one to get us through. I don't care how much snow, how much rain, how much sun, how much of whatever is facing us, God can get us through. We need him more every day. Yes, he is our Savior. Today, I want to talk to you about qualifications of a leader. Subtitle: there are preconditions for leaders, parents. Leadership in the church / home. You know, everybody wants to be a leader, but we all are not able. Oh, we can play the role. We can act like a leader. But some of us don't have what it takes to be a leader. It's more than a title. You know, you have to be put together in a certain way to be a leader. The same as a parent. A child can be born in this world. Doesn't necessarily mean that he has good parents. Some of these children are raising themselves. A leader, just to give you a hint of what a leader must have and what he shouldn't do. A leader must be well thought of, committed to the church, wife, husband, cool and collective, accessible and hospitable, must know what he or she is talking about. Because sometimes we just like to hear the sound of our own voices. That won't cut it. It won't happen. And we should not be overly fond of wine. Not to be pushy. You know, some of us, well, I'm not pushy. I'm just trying to get my point over. You're pushy. And what you're doing, you're pushing folks away from you. Be gentle, not thin-skinned. You know that sometimes you can't say much to some folks because he was talking about me. Somebody said a couple of Sundays ago, you were talking about me when you were preaching. I said, not necessarily, but if the shoe fit, wear it. You know, I don't want to talk to this person or that person. I tell anybody, if you don't want to hear correct criticism, stay away from some folks. Because I know someone, I've been knowing them for a long time. If you thin-skinned, you won't be around them long. Because they're going to say what God gives them. And if you're so thin-skinned that you can't take anything, you just don't go around them. You know, and I'm a person that I can say anything to you, but you can't say anything to me. And I'm a little bit better. I'm working on it, but I know what it is to be thin-skinned. Now, I don't know how I got that way, but I'm working myself out of it. And some of us need to look. You know, I don't want to do this, and I don't want to do that, because every time I'm around, they say this and they say that. Don't be so thin-skinned because you won't hear. And that's what I like about my friend. I have a friend that's not thin-skinned. Because if they were thin-skinned, they wouldn't be sitting in the church this morning. Because I said some things, and I didn't dress it up. You know, some of us want to dress things up and make it sound good. But I said, well, because I know the person, I said to the person, because I know the person didn't know. Right now, this is winter time, and one of us have scarves, hats around our head, and our hair get a little bit out of place. Now, you can let that person walk around the church with their hair not right, or you can say, fix your hair. And that's what I said. I didn't dress it because I know that the person did not want their hair looking like that. But they've been thin-skinned. I came out in this kind of weather, and what do I run into? Somebody tell me about my hair. They gotta be glad I'm here. But it didn't happen that way. Some of us need to address that. Don't be money hungry and must handle, listen to me, must handle his or her own affairs, their children. Some of us so busy trying to lead a church, and your house is falling down. You're doing more in the church trying to make sure that the preacher looking good, missionaries are all happy, and your family is falling apart. That's not a leader. A good leader takes care of home and the church. You know, and I look at, know how to handle your affairs. Some of us don't know how to handle our affairs. And it bothers me sometimes. What is this? Well, no, God wants me to do this. God said in decent and in order. So when you want to be a leader, check yourself out. Are you that material? Do you have the qualifications? I know for a fact that anything worth something has some stipulations, preconditions. If you want to be a substance abuse counselor, you have to go and get some paper that says you're certified. And not only you have to get this piece of paper, you have to keep your license certification up. That means you have to continue to address where you are. So if you're a leader, you got to continue to check yourself. Am I about doing my Father's work? Am I about taking care of the church? Not coming in preaching. Before you get in the church, did you see some trash in front of the church? Did you see the church need to be swept around? Something need to be picked up? Did you see some dust in the church? You know, it's more than preaching and teaching. If you're a leader, you're concerned. If you look over there and say, you know, I don't see Mother Jones today. You talk with the trustees. Have you heard from her? Have you made a call? Or have you seen her? You have to be what? Vigilant. You know, some of us, you know, that, yeah, I got a church, and your members can't even call you for a prayer. They get in the hospital, everybody come but you. Well, I sent my deacon over there. I sent the president of the worship board. Sometimes you want to see your pastor. You know, he's so busy, he can't stop. I didn't ask the pastor to stay all day. He just come and lay his hands on me. Sometimes you just can look up and see your pastor, missionary, coming through the door and you feel better already. You know, there's qualifications for being a leader. And I think about that. Somebody said to me one day, I don't know why I'm paying you all this money. I can talk. I said, well, do you have any paper saying you can do this? Well, I don't see you doing that. I said, well, I might not be where you want me to be, but the state of New York said I'm qualified. And so you're here because somebody else thought I was qualified and sent you here. So let's look at things like they are. I want you to understand that it's a reason there's preconditions for whatever position in life there is. Now, if you want to be president of the United States, you have to be a certain age. And there's a lot of other qualifications, but one is you have to be born in this country at a certain age. Now, that's a reason for that. If you want to be a good parent, that means you don't co-sign everything your child does. There's a time you have to say, that's not cute. There's a time in the church you have to tell the deacon, listen, I'm understanding that you're not doing the church work. And you're doing a lot of things I'm hearing in the street, and I'm understanding that you don't have the respect you used to have. So you're going to have to sit down for a while. Now, you say, well, that's my friend, and I can't do that. Then you're not a leader. A leader is a person that in difficult times, when difficult situations are up, they stand up and be who they're supposed to be. And I like that, but I feel that one good reason, listen to me close, there's one good reason that there are qualifications. And I want you to be aware of this. The devil will figure out a way to trap you, trip you up. But when the Bible lays it out for you, you can't say, I didn't know. 1 Timothy 3, 5, and 7. It says in the Amplified Version, verse 5, for if a man does not know how to rule his own household, how is he to take care of the church of God? Then you go down to 7. Furthermore, he must have a good reputation and be well thought of by those outside of the church, lest he become involved in slander, incur reproach, and fall into the devil's trap. Fall where? Fall into the devil's trap. That's why there's qualification. Because God wants you to know you can't do any and everything and call yourself a Christian, a pastor, a missionary, a bishop. No. You're supposed to be set aside from others. You must have a good reputation. People need to know that you stand for something. They need to be able to say, you know, and I know myself, there's people I know. When before I was saved, and I saw a certain missionary coming, and we were doing whatever we were doing, I would tell the fellas, hey, man, put the cigarette down. Put the bottle down. Watch your language. Here comes a church person. Now, she didn't go around telling everybody, but she lived a life. There were things that she didn't do. What about you? You say you're a parent. You say, I'm a good mother. Some of you right now spending your last dollar or two trying to get whatever trinket, electronic device your child wants. But you haven't gone over their homework in months. You haven't gone in to check on her when she go to bed. Well, she said she went to, listen, I used to say I was going to bed. Mom and Dad slept downstairs. I slept upstairs. And they would say, I said, good night. Now, they should have known something. I said, I'm going to bed early. I said, oh, I'm tired. I'm going to bed. And I get upstairs and I make a lot of noise. Boom, 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 boom. Cut the radio on. Ease up my bedroom window and slip out. Because I knew that they were downstairs. They wasn't, but one night, my mother decided to say, you go and check on that boy. And I was not there. See, you have to check. You just don't take your children's word for it. Sometimes I would say, I'm going over here, and I don't show up. So parents, there's qualifications for being a parent. A good parent. I don't care if your child gets angry with you. Your job is to be a good parent. That means restrictions, guidelines, and you to live a godly life. Don't vex your children to anger if you want to be a good parent. You have to do some things, and you have to let some things go sometimes. I remember a long, long time ago, I was about 12 or 13 years old. My mama and one of the relatives were going out. And I was playing, and I fell, and I cut my elbow open. And I went on home crying and showed Mama my elbow, and she said right then that she wasn't going anywhere. And her friend said, all you got to do is put a Band-Aid on it and wrap it up. We still can go. Mama said, my child is hurt, and I'm not going. And she didn't go. Now, I knew she wanted to go. I said, oh, Mom, go ahead. But she felt her obligation was to be home with me. Sometimes, parents, you got to look at some things. You got to say, now, I know I promised we were going to go out tonight, but that girl wasn't feeling well. I think I better stay home with her.